I love watching the old history of the Model Ts and the Model As, and when Henry Ford developed the Tin Lizzie and the Model T. On this first part right here,
car that takes you anywhere you want to go.
This guy in this Model T, it's a Phaeton, it looks like. He's got to be doing 30 miles an hour. I mean, he's probably got it pinned as fast as it'll go. Hits a jump in the road. You could just see how this thing's flying over the road. It's pretty awesome. So I get this freeze framed right now where he is literally airborne in this Model T. I would say it looks like the brass era. Looks like it's got a brass grill in it. It looks like he's a little airborne coming out of his seat right now. But you can see how the suspension's unloaded on this thing. And it really is not much different than the off-road trucks that you watch today or the RZRs that you see going through the desert. This was the fun right here. And to me, it still seems like a lot of fun to get in one of these old cars. And it's probably got, I'm assuming it's probably got wood wheels on it too, which is a little sketchy. Can you imagine the wheels were made out of wood?
The Model T. Strong, sturdy, with a will of its own.
So then you got the Model T coming off this ledge right here. I mean, it's a pretty good drop off. Like, your modern car isn't going to do that. This was a daily driven car. Your Kia, your Tesla, your, whatever you got is not going to go over what this guy just went over. These cars were coming literally from a horse and buggy. And they were really trying these cars out and seeing how tough they were back in the 1920s to see if they could prove this car. And Dodge and Ford, of course, they were competing pretty heavy. Even Chevy. Ford, to me, seemed like they had it going on with the buggy spring in the front. The way that the suspension was set up, it had a wishbone front end. So from the front wheels here towards you was a wishbone with a little ball at the end. And it basically bolted to the cross member underneath the frame. And it would just literally could pivot the front end back and forth like insane amount of clearance. And the frames on these Model Ts were designed to flex, like totally flex, so you can drive these things off-road. They were quite the off-road vehicle back in the 1920s because think about it, we didn't have roads, they didn't have roads, so they just drove these everywhere they went, and it was like legitimately an off-road luxury car. And right here, I mean, this guy just came off like a 5-foot embankment sideways. This thing had no opportunity to roll over. If you were going to do that in like a Saturn or your Prius, you would have rolled it. You would have rolled this thing over right off that embankment right there. These things literally were insanely off-roadish. Think about the craze of the RZR right now and the Can-Ams. Like, we're in a craze of that right now. Like, literally, people are refinancing their houses to go buy one of these pieces of shit. If you think about it, this was the same craze. People are trying to do anything they could to go down and spend $450 on this car. So when you're only making $2.50 a day, that was an expensive car. But they didn't care. They wanted one too, and that was a big deal. This was the 1920s RZR. Let's keep going through here. What he's trying to do in this next series right here is basically he's trying to show you how it steers through all the rough, rugged roads. These ruts aren't no joke. I mean, they're pretty deep. A lot of these wheels came with like a 21-inch wheel. We think, oh man, I got 20s, I got 21s on my That's just for looks. They did it because they were cutting through mud and snow, and these little skinny tires would just go through the snow and the mud. It was set up so it would cut through it. This one here, it looks like he's got some steel 21-inch wheels on it, wire wheels. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever looked at a Model T or Model A steel wheel. The early ones, like the 28s, the late teens. We're talking a 1/4-inch spoke, to think that them things actually would hold up to durability. I mean, you could bend them if you hit a curb hard or hit something, but they made them for the weight of the car so they would hold up to the durability. But those wheels and tires were designed to cut through things. And, when you're out there in the mud coming from the ranch and it's been snowing all day and you're going down the road, you got to have those wheels. But you could see how this car, through the roughest part of it, and I even like the background, you could see that the telephone poles are up, like they actually got power. This was a big time right now. You're talking probably 1925 to 1927. We were just starting to get power to your house. And you could see that he's kind of in an old, there was no roads, there's no asphalt. This was how you drove down the road. but you can see the old houses on the side and the power poles, which was all new stuff. You'd think these cars and power were new at this time. We got the water. So here we go. Here we go again. Here's your razor. Here's your razor. Let's compare everything to a Model T. So a Model T can go off-road. It can drive through water. So if you were to drive, let's say, your Prius, I just go back to that because I just love the Prius. I think it's such a great car, and it's such a fascinating car that we put on our planet to really teach people how not to drive. If you try to drive your Prius through this river right here, it would probably short out. And not only the first time, but this guy right here probably has to cross that river every day going to work in that car. So every day he goes through that river. Pretty durable car, you know, it's pretty impressive. I like the music too. Here we go. So here we got a Phaeton coming through the snow. It's probably, God man, they gotta have 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground. Think about back then, they didn't have any snow plows, really. They probably had old Model T trucks that they could probably push around, and maybe they had some old dozers that they could push snow, but not everybody could afford that. It wasn't like today where our county or our city pays to have a plow truck come plow the roads. They just had to hopefully make it. The high clearance on these, so you gotta think it's a 21-inch wheel. The middle of the axle's still this high. So here's your axle. So you're a foot and a half of clearance, where nowadays, if you pull into the 7-Eleven, your bumper is going to hit the curb, right? Curbs are only this high. So they were like this high. So, I mean, that 6 inches is a lot when you're cruising down the road. Not only that, but all you had on these Model Ts was a front axle, and it would usually push through the snow anyway. They were just the ultimate off-road machine, if you ask me. Here in this picture also, again, if you look at it, you see all the power poles, you see the houses kind of in the background. You got some little kid standing here watching probably his dad do this commercial for Ford or whoever. You know, that was the turning point of power. We were on the grid, you know, people were starting to pay power bills back then. Let's go to the next one here. So the cars on the train track coming across this bridge, they actually had rims that you could put on these to run it down the railroad track. I, for my entire life, have been wanting to do the same thing. I want to try to find an old abandoned railroad track where I know where one is. I want to put wheels on my Model A and drive it down this track. And I'm serious about this, so if there's anybody out there that's watching this video that'd like to do the same thing, let me know, because I think I would like to put a group of guys together. Let's find an old abandoned railroad track. If you have a Model A or you have something that we can put together to get on the track, I think it would be a blast to get, 10 of these cars on the railroad track and just go on a tour. So if there's anybody out there seriously that would be interested in doing that, it might be something that I might want to put together as an annual once a year event and start doing this. So what I might start doing is actually putting a car together for this so I can show you guys, and then I would like to make an event out of it. We'll carry our spare wheels and tires with us. So if we're out there, we can jack the car up, change our wheels, get off the railroad track, and take another path on the way back. Make sure you make a comment on that, because I'm serious. I think that'd be great. Look at these guys trucking down the railroad tracks. It's just insane. And then you got this guy in this Model T climbing up this pipe, literally probably shitting his pants right now because he's going so slow. Like he's kind of scared right now. But they're just showing what these cars could do. You know what I mean? But cruising across this pipe kind of shows the wheel clearance, so that the front axle's not dragging on this big pipe. It actually is making it across it. I think we could reenact that somewhere in our little thing. I'm coming to the end of this video, and I just wanted to kind of like do a quick little video on the Model T and how cool I think it was with Henry Ford, where he actually pretty much perfected the production line, and with that became these Model Ts that they were just running out the door daily, like so many of them. Like I said, it's just a cool car, and I'm serious about seeing if guys want to get together with their Model A's and go have some fun with them. If you guys have a Model A, you want to put together a little tour, hit me up on here, make a comment. let's get a little club together and go do it. I'm not saying a club like we wear shirts and try to be in a club. A group of guys. That's it. I don't believe in clubs. It'd be fun to get some guys that are like-minded that love these old cars and go have some fun. So make sure you make some comments. Yeah, if there's any facts out there that I'm missing, I mean, I'm just doing a quick little rundown, but let me know because I'd love to know what you guys know about it because I always love to learn. And there's going to be some more of these videos. I think this is kind of fun. And thanks for watching my YouTube video.